the miracle doc, they counted me out. Moment of truth, counting it down. Underdog story was down for the count. Back on my feet, back with a mic, back on the beat, back with a family that bang in the streets. The game on lock, I stand with a key. Standing my ground, I am planning to flee. Standing my ground, I am planting my feet. Taking a stand, embracing my destiny, shaking his hand, flipping the script.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. And Carolyn can't hear us.
Technical difficulties.
Ever since we got our microphone, we have added technical difficulties to Carolyn's setup. We have no voice, no. So, yeah.
I said I had the mic for now because I couldn't hear anything. It wasn't.
Okay. Yeah, we add equipment to your repertoire and it messes up all of your system. So what's going on, everybody? It's Sunday night CrossFit Talk. Man, I haven't shaved in a week.
Wow.
Yeah. That's been my MO since the games. It has been don't shave for a week and then shave it off, and then don't shave for 2 weeks and then shave it off. And I don't know. I can't decide what I'm doing. But crazy. But we got 15 minutes of rain today for the first time in 4 weeks.
Do you have rain all week in your schedule?
I haven't checked, but there's a possibility tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, our whole week looks pretty rainy. But same thing, we haven't had rain in a few weeks, and
my backyard is a dust bowl. How are you, Carolyn? First week of school underway?
I'm on week 3. This is gonna be week 4.
Dang. Where's time gone?
I know. Crazy. It's been a busy week though. I've been basically teaching 4 classes instead of 3. So busy.
Yeah. Yeah. Just as I'm trying to do all this editing for the behind the scenes and all that stuff, work has picked up, life has picked up. Yeah, it's crazy. And then they throw 2 events in one weekend on me to try to keep up with all of that. So, but that's what we're here to talk about. Don't forget to subscribe, join the channel if you haven't already done that, and share with your friends. Let people know that we're here. And we do this every Sunday night. As Kenneth DeLapp says, we are the original Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. But a lot has happened this weekend. Before we get into some of that, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, we will be releasing episode 3 of Behind the Scenes of the 2024 Masters CrossFit Games. And it is the rope climb, clean or sandbag clean, handstand walk event. This one is going to be a lot more Ellie Hiller forward. She did a lot of the interviews for this one. So it's going to have a lot more of her interviews coming off the floor and less of mine in the warm-up area. But this one's about 25 minutes long. So nice and easy to digest, quick run through. It's just one event. And Ortega killed the mashup of the event. Again, it's really good. It's a good one to do. Rope climbs are fun to watch, sandbag cleans, and then handstands, just made for a really cool, I looked and Lex was in the top 5 and, but in first place was, my guy,
CJ.
Yes, right? CJ Gerald was in first, going into those last couple events.
Is there a prize for top 3 or just top 1?
I think they give a prize for 1, but I don't know about top 3.
Lex has to be one of the most consistent players though, up at the top. She was as well.
I didn't even play this time. I'm kind of bummed.
Yeah, there's a few that didn't fall. I just kind of put it early, and then sometimes I'd forget. Sometimes I would think about it.
I'm terrible at setting my lineup in time. So I went in literally and just put North America for everything. And then if I had time to get in and change it, I did, but I didn't want I wanted to at least participate in the whole weekend. So that's what I did. And it cost me, I don't know. I mean, I might have changed one or two things, but the prop bets were tough this time. I thought I was not good at the seconds apart piece like that. But yeah, Heat One app. If you would have, I think it would have helped had, and these are things we can talk about. We'll get into it. TYR Wadapalooza, SoCal with the TYR Cup this weekend. They tried something new. Let's talk from a Heat One perspective as fantasy. It would have been nice to know the lineups ahead of time, knowing they could change, they could sub out, but it would have been great. And I think to grow any kind of sport, the more you can attach it to fantasy or sports betting of any kind, the better it does. And I think this is a way to get people more involved, and they should work together to like get at least hypothetical lineups for the week.
I agree.
But like, I don't know that he knew the lineups to post them.
Probably
Right.
not.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm saying that.
Yeah.
If
It would have helped a lot.
The more people you get playing the game, the more people will watch to see how they're doing in the game.
Yeah.
And so it's a way to build it. Because knowing that they could, like the last minute changes tonight, knowing North America had a chance to win, so they changed their lineup for the next to last event to go all in. I'm sorry, it could be that way, but so anyway, that's about the fantasy aspect of it. Did you guys get a chance to watch much of the weekend?
I only watched, so basically today was the first day I got to watch much of anything. I caught a little bit of the Adaptive Games on Friday, daytime. And then today I just tried to like catch up on the TYR stream. So I watched Brian's recap of the run one, like the monostructural one.
Yeah,
I guess it was. And then watched a little bit of the adaptive today. But yeah, today was basically all the time I had.
Yeah, I watched like the Friday night. I didn't watch it. I watched actually as I woke up around like 3 to 4 a.m. and I just checked my phone, and then I had a notification. I was like, oh, let me see who won. Then I ended up like starting to watch it in the middle of the night. Saturday, I stayed up to watch it. It was just so late though. Like it threw off my morning routine a little bit on the weekend because I woke up a little bit later than I would have liked to begin my training. And then today I watched it. It's just late. Even for Lex, who is in California, she's complaining, and it was late for her.
So I was the idiot that stayed up every night to watch it. It was tough though. I will tell you, it was everything in my power, because I think Friday night didn't end till after 1 Eastern time. And that's late for me these days. And so I watched it. I will say I was really excited to watch some CrossFit. Friday night left me a little bit less than excited. I thought the first couple events didn't bring a lot of heat. They didn't bring a lot of excitement. There was a couple blowouts. It was hard to kind of understand the concept of it at first until they got to the lift, which we all knew who was going to win anyway. But it was fun to see like aerial PR, and it was fun to see Jeff at least put up decent numbers. Just Guy blew him out of the water because we knew that was going to happen anyway. And I think like what's cool about it live and the lights and being at night and you get that like the techno feel of it all. I don't think that comes across on TV. I think on TV, it just looked like you could see people's breath. It was cold. You saw the wet floors. You saw them chalking every piece of equipment. like to hell and back because it was really crazy. And Friday night just left me like blah. But then I watched the event 5 or 4, whatever it was, on Saturday at like 1:00, I think. Then I started getting pumped. Like that picked up a lot. Then Saturday night got even better. And they were more excited. There was more of like the highlight events where it was one-on-one. I think those were pretty exciting. And then today was even better. So yesterday when they chose to do the 3-person team and it ended with the run on the beach,
Yeah.
that was freaking gorgeous.
That's the one I watched. Yeah.
Like that was to run up the Pacific Ocean. And I wish they would have had a drone to kind of follow it the whole way. And bring it back. But other than that, like I have no complaints. I thought that was really fun to watch. And then they get into the evening and it was really fun. It was easier to stay up Saturday night than it was Friday night. And then today I thought the events were bang, bang, bang until the last event when everybody knew who was going to win.
Right.
But it was pretty fun. Corey Leonard says to listen to Brian Friend hyperventilating. If people didn't watch it live, Brian tried to run with the last athlete out as far as he could. Then he publicly said, I better stop here so I can keep up with the athletes as they come back.
Mm-hmm.
But he was breathing pretty hard at that point. He made it way further than I would. I'll say that.
I was impressed with how I actually thought it would be louder breathing. I was like, oh, this is going to get awkward. And I thought he did great. And he didn't sound like heavy breathing to me. I was impressed.
Yeah, same. I was getting a treatment at that point, and I'm like, I'm listening to it with my athletic trainer, and she's like, is someone like running and filming? Like, what is happening? Because she can't see the video. And I'm like, yes, but he's actually doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did great, actually. I thought the broadcast, he started by giving a tour of the venue, which was cool to see for us who weren't there. And then to cover the event was great. Just he lost some internet at times. I wish that wouldn't happen. And like I said, if they had a drone, it would have been perfect.
Yeah, the volume was it Saturday night. The volume had issues as well.
Yeah, the audio went out Saturday night. But then the first event today, where they had to move all of the equipment from one end of the floor to the other and then back, like that had so much excitement to it. When Adler took the worm by himself and was the first guy to do it, like my jaw hit the floor. And then you could hear the crowd go nuts. And then you saw all of North America do that. They all brought worms back by themselves. I got hyped for that. And I thought it was really a cool, like old OG CrossFit-y, just move objects.
Yeah.
I thought that was a lot of fun.
I like that one too.
Yeah, just some of the events were too long. Like the volume was very high for them. Like if they thought they were signing up for like just a little like exhibition weekend, like I thought the volume was pretty high for that type of a weekend of like a fun TYR Cup weekend. I would have done a couple shorter workouts, and it would have been nice to have more teams. Like the head-to-head, to me, you can just take a lead and then coast. So I don't like that aspect of the competition. I'd want to see like 4 teams, basically like the invitational. If they could replicate like the invitational style with that sort of format and just have a couple just shorter events, just easier to follow, I think that would be successful.
Yeah, I'm okay with one long event to just, we hear Jamie complain every competition that there's no long event, right? You have to test that at some point. I'm okay with watching it once, but there was like 3 that went on for a while. And I could have used those to come back a little bit, but I agree with you, Carolyn. I think they proved the concept now. Now you can like modify and play. I think if you went to 4 teams like a Canada, Australia, Europe, and North America, just like the last Invitational, it would be epic. And you're still not filling the floor with a bunch of people.
Right.
And I would have teams of 6, not 8 for those, like 3 and 3. And then you could have all individual matchups or whatever. But yeah, I would have more teams and teams of 6.
Jeff said there at the end that he felt like it was not a lot of volume.
Well, he maybe didn't do as much as some of them.
He wasn't Tia.
He wasn't Tia.
I mean, Tia did all but 2 events.
Yeah, they definitely need rules around that, I feel like, for the future.
She tried her damn best to pull that team.
Of course she did. I mean, I get it, but
As a watcher, though, I do think they should cap.
Yeah, 100%.
Cap the number for each person.
Mm-hmm.
That just brings more strategy into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it because it's a team competition, it's not an individual competition.
Right.
But I think there's all like, this would be amazing if they just added a few tweaks.
And then the timing of it didn't look like there was as many fans as I thought there would be.
No.
So do you think that they lost a lot of money this weekend?
I have no idea.
Is it just like a bad time of the year with like the fall is just very hard with all the sports going on. I just don't know if that played a factor or if just lack of promotion or new location.
It Southern California?
Yeah. Can we all agree we can stop going to California?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go there. Sorry, Lex.
I think there were more people at NorCal than there were at this.
And that's the other thing. Like, I feel like fans just went to California for something, or people that live there drove for an event just recently. Like, I don't know that putting another event in California 2 weeks after a pretty major one is a good idea.
Dense Update said the fans were the other divisions competing. That's probably it.
That's not great. You need to draw more than just.
And how, like, what was the price to enter? Because like,
I was curious that too.
Like if they're going too high on the first year, like that can prevent a lot of people from traveling and going to watch, because it is normally super expensive to go to Wodapalooza and they upcharge.
Well, I know when Jamie and I went to Pasadena for semis last year, like it was not a cheap trip.
No.
Like the flight alone was rough. And then like we didn't stay in the best hotel in the world. In fact, it was probably way down on the list of hotels, and we still paid a lot to go to Pasadena. So Lynn says it was $60 single day tickets.
That's not terrible. Aaron and I were actually talking about that while it was on, about the price for it. And we both said it would be good if it was like $40 a day. Like $40 a day or $100 for the weekend to try to, I mean, it's weird for those outdoor festival types. Like you don't feel like you have, it's not like going into the Coliseum and having a seat and you get like, it's just different. It needs to be a little bit more reasonable.
I agree with that.
But like at college football games, $100, you know, like other sporting.
But we're not at that point.
Yeah. And
especially not for our first year.
It's a lot more lengthy time for the competition than that you get to watch than 2-3 hour football game.
That's also part of the problem though. You're buying lodging for that whole weekend. Like you have so many added expenses to go to this event that the price of entry can't be tacked onto that.
Well, and I think like we talked about how like the Masters had a lot of people, but the location was good because it was in that like southeastern United States where there's a lot of fans, a lot of training camps.
Yeah.
They could get there easy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Southern California's proven that they're not great sports fans.
Correct.
And that's not just CrossFit. Like their fans are outnumbered at the Rams games. Their fans are outnumbered at the Charger games.
It's like the weather's just so nice there that people just are out doing other things. Like just, there's so many options of things to do.
Right. I agree.
And Corey, no, not as bad as the hotel in Fort Wayne. There is nothing worse.
Andrew says doing this Labor Day weekend would be better. Like Miami is President's Day. Many people have Monday off, but then you get the holiday pricing on every hotel and every flight.
And it would have been in conflict with the teenagers this year
and the Masters.
Yeah.
So the competition registration was individual $359 and team was $969.
I didn't even see any of the individuals or anything like that.
They didn't stream any of it.
Oh, okay. Was anyone competing that was high level? I didn't even look at who was.
I don't know.
I didn't see a roster.
I didn't even look at the leaderboard of that.
Me either.
I saw Jen Dieter had a Masters team there.
Yeah.
Just on Instagram. So I know they had the community events just like regular Wadapalooza, but I think it was mostly teams. They didn't do individuals.
I think they did individual.
I didn't see anybody post anything about individual comp.
Oh, I did see the Grub, Sam, and Eric Hinman master team.
So one of the other, just a couple of highlights I had and some feelings. I was shocked by the world team. Some of their clean ladder performance blew me away. I think that's what made Saturday night even better is you got some shocking results that you weren't expecting. The underdog pulled some stuff off. We were talking about Tia doing it all. So here, Kaya, did you see the video that got published and then taken down and then Hiller put it back up? I think we need more of that. So if people didn't see it, Sahir Kaya was watching a video where Danielle Brandon is talking about she doesn't know any of the world athletes other than Tia and isn't even sure any of them made the games ever. And then the video pops up of Danielle dropping the worm and the world team just like a piston engine going to town, and they crushed the women on that event. And I think that is awesome. That's the cool stuff in sports where you say something and the other team makes you pay for what you said.
Right.
And that is awesome. And the rumor was that Sahir Kaya's sponsor made her it come down.
Yeah.
And I think it made her look awesome.
I agree.
She didn't say anything. She just was watching the video of what Danielle said. And then just the real life action that happened was her team kicked Danielle team's ass.
The problem is we treat women differently. This is what it is if the boys do this type of things, it's all fun and games. And then the sponsor would never say anything to Hopper doing that. But there's an image that goes behind the girl, a girl doing her sports and basically being quiet. This stuff was awesome. You should be able to see, to post that stuff and, get put in your place if you chirp and stuff like that. If the boys did it, it would be funny. The moment a girl does it like that, Danielle's getting, some comments on being too cocky and stuff. And it's just, it's different. It's
Danielle is embraced by making those statements.
Right.
Right. So I think that it's up for chirping back when it doesn't come to fruition. Right.
100%.
And we talked about this when I was talking about the Hope Solo documentary. She paid for things that men would never have paid anything for saying.
100%. There's a difference between as soon as a girl does it, I won't say girl, woman do it. It's just you're viewed differently. It's not. So for a sponsor to tell Kaya to basically turn it down, that's, you're treating her differently because she's a woman. You would never do that to Sprague, to Hopper, to Dallin after their videos of them chirping. Never. It's
that is a viral video that would make Sahir
more popular.
It would give her a spotlight that she doesn't get normally. Corey says Jamie talks shit to me all the time and I'm here for it.
I do not.
Well, if you've watched the show, Lex talks shit to me almost on an every other day.
That's true.
So,
And I get it every day as well from her.
I'm just curious, like, who the sponsor is. Is it like a European company that has a different sense of banter? Like, just doesn't see the value in that, maybe wants a clean, wholesome, I don't know. We don't know who the sponsor is, so it's tough to say.
yeah. Dense updates, by the way, who's going to be on the show tomorrow, who's kind of taking the world by storm on Instagram. We're having her on to talk about why she's doing what she's doing and
Nice.
how she got there. So her name is Jenny, by the way, if you didn't know that. We talk so much trash in our gym, but none of us are sponsored.
Yeah.
Some other things, the clean ladder shocker I talked about, which actually started with Sihir Kaya killing it again. And then I wanted to talk about Nightfall and the dew and how much effect that had on things. Like, how much is it worth having the lights and the flashing if like everything's wet and covered in dew every night? And you see them like going to the rig like they're almost skating.
Yeah.
I think
Not
that's
worth
something that just needs to be reviewed.
Yeah.
For future events.
I'm actually surprised like Brent and Pat didn't call that out. Like, that kind of stuff is unsafe. Wall walking on that kind of stuff.
The handstand, freestanding, like Alexis like slipped a couple times. I think Guy as well, maybe.
Well, on the obstacles on Friday night, like
chalked
Danielle
up.
was chalking between every person.
I wasn't sure whether it was too dark and they couldn't see, which I think it was both. Like, it was so dark that they couldn't see where they were going, and it was slippery, which makes two things kind of, not the ideal situation.
Yeah, agreed. And then I really liked the strategy, especially in that event 8, moving all the objects. You could tell where strategy actually played a big role in North America winning that one. Uniforms and numbers I thought were awesome. It made it so easy to tell what team was what and who was who. Because if you couldn't see the name, at least you could see the number. And they all picked numbers that were special to them, which was kind of cool. I liked how they did that.
I wanted a jersey. I was like, damn, those look nice. I want one.
They were sweet.
Isn't that like you've been a team sport athlete most of your life, right? And I played football and I played baseball. Like, I have numbers that mean a lot to me that I would love that opportunity if I ever had a chance to have a jersey with my number on it. And if you've played team sports, you're on a team on this event and it's cool. They got to have their numbers and their names on a jersey.
Yeah, I thought that was a great addition.
Did everyone talk about their number? And
the only person I saw was Ariel actually did an Instagram post that she picked her daughter's soccer number.
Okay, that's cute.
Which was awesome.
I'm sure Pat picked his lacrosse number and Brent picked his volleyball number or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would have done. I mean, I have a baseball number and a football number. It would have been one of those two. Lynn said, I wanted them to sell jerseys online. They had the coolest jerseys last year at the games, but we couldn't get them online. I like these better. They just had some color. Finally some color in a jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And they had different colored pants. It made it, and shorts. It made it so easy to tell what team was what.
Right.
I mean, I'd buy one of the TYR So Cal jerseys with the number and the name on it.
I thought the jerseys looked sharp. They look really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It took me back to like 1980s Houston Astros with kind of the striping on the front.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. I'm old. And then Dallin Pepper and Brent Fikowski doing 50 cals on the Echo bike in 38 seconds.
Gross.
Are you kidding me?
That whole event was so gross. But I loved watching every second of it because I was just, seeing them die. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so nasty. But I'm there for it.
Those were the events that were awesome.
Oh
That,
yeah.
like the spotlight events,
The specialist type stuff.
yeah, the lifts, the gymnastics, that one. Emily's last 5 burpees where it looked like her whole body had cramped. Like, oh my gosh, is she even going to be able to finish?
I know.
And then they all get on the assault runner and look like they're fine.
Yeah. I figured Emily would be. That's kind of how I anticipated it going down, was Emily holding her own on the burpees because Grace went so hard on the bike. And because Emily's an endurance athlete, like she's able to come around and recover. And yeah, that one was super exciting.
Yeah, because she had lost like 6 seconds, I think, on the Echo bike, and then regained maybe 3 seconds on the burpees, 3 or 4 seconds, and then they tied basically the run. So
Yeah.
that was really close.
I was impressed with Emily's bike, to be honest. It was closer than I expected.
Emily's a great, she's great on the machines. She's always been great. She's not just a good runner. She's got really good machine work. Like
It's power output though, and great. Like we saw.
Yeah, but
Grace
if you've seen her paces on her rower and stuff when she trains in her garage, like I've seen some of her paces, I'm like, damn, that's like so good.
Yeah,
like, there was no surprise there from my part. Like she's really good on the machines. People just view her as a runner.
Corey said Nick was the only fan there not competing. And then WOD Zombie actually says it was packed. The vendor area was popping while the non-elite competitors were going.
Well, that's
great
good for
hear.
the vendors. Yeah,
that's good to hear.
The one thing Wadapalooza knocks out of the park, and you could tell this in Brian's tour of the facility, as soon as you walk through the gate, you had to walk through the vendors.
That's how it always should be.
Right.
Yeah.
And the games never does that. The games has the vendors off to a side or off, hell, this year, a block away.
It needs to be like the exit lines at the grocery stores or whatever. Like you have to go through it. Like that's the only way that you help support those vendors that are literally funding your competition for a lot of it. Make people go through that. The more that they can make, the more other companies are going to want to go there as well, and it just keeps growing. So I don't know why that's not a thing at every competition. It's really important that the vendors are successful for the competition to continue on.
When you're at Wadapalooza, Miami, you came in the gate at Bayfront and you had to go through a tunnel of vendors. Then if you wanted to go to the Bayfront stage, you had to go through the big vendor village to get from there to Bayfront. And you had to walk through all those vendors. Like they're just, and it looked like the same kind of setup for this one with Brian's tour. And I think that Loud and Live do an amazing job at that, making sure that the vendors have prime locations to make money. WOD Zombie also said, all the agents I talked to said this is the most fun the athletes have had in a while.
Awesome.
And that's probably important. After everything that's happened this year, having an event for them to go have fun is had to be number one priority. He also said the vendors were open to the public, which was cool. So you didn't even need a ticket to get in there. Wow. Yes, the athlete signings and everything. This is the best thing ever. I don't know when they can do it because semis athletes are too focused and at the games, but I'd buy everything if I get to meet Brent. So, I think, I loved how they came together as a team. I loved how, like, on that gross workout, you have Justin icing Dallin down. You have people shaking out competitors' legs, taking their shoes off for them. Like, it was and if you've ever been a team athlete, that's the coolest part of being on a team is when you come together like that. And I thought that was epic. And I was all in on all of that.
And you saw that on multiple events, especially from Team World. Like Tia was literally, if she wasn't competing, she was coaching every single one of them and giving them chalk. Like when Guy was doing the gymnastics one, she was literally like feeding him a water bottle every second, the chalk. Pat had no one there. And like, it's just like, I just felt like the Team World had a little bit more it looked from the outside that they had a little bit more support of their athletes and I guess like playfulness to them. But yeah, I like the fact that they were helping each other out and stuff. I don't know if they need to be on the floor, but
yeah. Kenneth says it looks silly to me. When I was a swimmer, and swimming is a team sport, you have a lineup and you pick, this guy does these 3 events, this guy does these 2 events, and so on and so forth. But you give everything you have for that team.
Mhm.
And when you're done, you're spent. And when your teammates lift you up, that is the best feeling in the world.
I thought it looked like it just made it look like even more so how hard that event was. The fact that they needed that much support and the ice there and the snacks, and like it just shows how difficult that event was on their bodies. And those athletes that weren't doing it knew how hard those athletes were, and
Yes.
they were like making sure that they could contribute anyway, knowing that athlete is just selling their soul for their team.
Right.
And probably secretly so happy that it wasn't them, because it is, yeah, that one was so gross to watch.
Nick comes back with it gave me goosebumps to see these people who are usually all about themselves being in a team environment. So that's pretty much all I had about the weekend. Any overall thoughts? Are you excited for more things like this? I know Carolyn said, expand it to like maybe a little bit, couple more teams, do that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great start. I would like to see it be a little more invitational style, a little more rules around it, capping the amount of events you can do. But yeah, it was awesome.
Bruce says, why did Brent play for the world? One, the world was decimated by injuries, and Lazar was supposed to compete in this.
Right.
So that's another person they lost. Brent, and according it is understood, I think he has dual citizenship. I believe he's an Australian citizen as well as a Canadian.
I think I've heard that too. Yeah.
I don't know if he has citizenship, but I know that he started CrossFit in Australia, I believe. So
yeah, I think I believe this weekend he has dual citizenship, and he chose. But the real reason is the world was decimated. Roman is injured. Ricky is injured. Lazar, we all know what happened there. And that was 3 people they had to replace. And last minute, Brent stepped in to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And Lex just messaged me that Pat got MVP.
Oh, he did?
Oh, wow. That's not who I would have picked, but
Right.
I'm okay with it.
Who picks it? Like the athletes?
I think it was a fan vote.
A fan vote.
Through Instagram or what? Do you know where? How?
I didn't pay that much attention to it.
It's just one for the whole, like not like one from North America, one from world. It was just one.
It's just one.
Interesting.
Even though she lost, I would have to give it to Tia.
She was valuable though.
So of course she is, but you have to. I feel like you need to see somebody do something incredible.
I thought Guy did well this weekend. I thought he was in a lot of the events, especially early on, and performed better than I think a lot of people expected. I think, yeah.
Let me ask you this. After 2 days, I was seriously sitting there thinking, why doesn't Guy do better? Like he didn't just win event, like he dominated. That gymnastics event, he so impressed me.
He tied Pat on that one.
Yeah, but if you're tying Pat Vellner in a gymnastics event.
Yeah, but Guy's known for his gymnastics. He's a specialist. He's a gymnast specialist. He's a weightlifting specialist. It's the combination of everything together with the aerobic capacity. That's where he'll struggle.
And then
today
he looked awful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
the first day he did all the workouts and he didn't get any breaks. So I think over the weekend, his recovery, his conditioning and stuff just got the best of him. But he started off really well.
John has spoken.
Like he's a specialist for like he's gymnastics. It's just he doesn't have it when it's combined with a high heart rate.
I didn't say he was fit, John.
I mean,
What I said was after 2 days, I was like, why isn't this guy better? And like it's all there. It feels like that student that has all the potential and doesn't put any of it forward, like doesn't put the work in around it. Like that's how I feel. Like Dallin has gotten so much better at like running and stuff like that. Like, why isn't Guy putting in that kind of time?
Well, he may be, but because he's so specialized in strength and stuff, like there's give somewhere else. Like he's just not aerobically there. Like Dallin isn't as specialized. Like he's more well-rounded.
Okay. It just was a feeling I had. I'm just sharing my feelings.
I agree with you, Scott.
Share away.
I'm just sharing my feelings.
Like you can tell Dallin has put in significant work on running in aerobic capacity in general. And yeah, you feel like he maybe needs to just.
I'm just saying after those first 2 days, you see that talent. You're just like, why?
Yeah. I mean, genetically, he's just more explosive and
yes.
Anaerobic, like
which
just,
is what
like genetically you can't change that, but
yeah, that's what John is saying. He's more fast twitch, which is I totally agree. I think Guy is like pure fast twitch, and I don't know how long that would take to because I'm the complete opposite. Like I can't, I don't know what I can't get strong, but I could go forever. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the other things that happened this weekend that I thought was as good as anything else was Reps Ahead. If you didn't watch the Reps Ahead, it was the best version they've put out. The Hopper Sprague match, if you did not watch it, ended in a flat out tie. Neither one could get more than a couple reps ahead. After 3 rounds, it was dead even.
they said that like he got off the box first or whatever.
Well, Sprague said today that they announced him the winner to the crowd because they had to, but everybody knows it was a tie. They ended with the same number of reps. And I think that that's what makes that event now better, because now don't you want to see the rematch? It's just like MMA or boxing or whatever.
I'd like to see a different format, though. I don't think that the interval needs to be done every time with the rest.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to contemplate that a little bit.
But you had, like, Annika completely dominated. Her cycle time of the toast bars was super impressive, and then she pushed the pace. And
but she saw where she had to push the pace.
Yeah. And then Kyle just couldn't quite match it. Lauren Stallwood did well, too, better than I expected. Like, she took the win fairly early.
Yeah, she knocked Devin Kim out pretty quick.
Yeah.
In the second round. So
yeah, she did well.
Again, I thought the women's one was good for a different reason. Like, I thought you could see the strategy and them where they had to pick up the pace to win. And it was both knockouts and then the tie. But I don't see how Bruce says it's not a tie. They ended with the same number of reps.
Not sure.
He says
There
rule.
There was no rule of who won the last round or anything. They were trying to make something up on the floor. That's what James said today in his interview with Peter. Him and Hopper both know it was a tie. It's never happened before.
Right.
So they weren't prepared for it.
And it was really cool to look at their different strategies. Like, Hopper was significantly better on the toast bar. And then James was better on the box jump overs and the touch and go on the snatches. So two movements for James, one for Hopper, and like every time one would get a lead, it would get, you know, right back to square, like 0 basically. So yeah, I still just would want to see a different format. I think I've seen this one kind of play out a few more times than I need to. Not sure what the exact format, but I don't know.
I like it as an alternative for a quick watch. And if you're gonna have big names doing it, I'm gonna watch it.
Oh, absolutely.
And they may tweak it and have better formats or different formats where, you know, this. Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
The matchups are what makes it super interesting to me. Like, I want to see something like Hopper versus James where the strategies are different and how that plays out.
Bruce, why does one have to be better than the other? Can't we enjoy both? Just saying. All right. Next thing we have is the Rogue Invitational has announced who from the queue it got their invite to the Rogue Invitational, and a little bit of a surprise on this. So I am going to share my notes page real quick, but because I have it here. From the women, they are bringing 6 people from the queue, and that is Mano Anganese, Sydney Wells, Taylor Williamson, Emma Tall, Taylor Howe, and Dana Paran. Dana Paran, this is right up her alley. She's a former weightlifter. We interviewed her for semifinals, and we interviewed her at semifinals this year, which is awesome. Got to know her really well.
Power lifter too.
Yeah. If you've not heard her story, she went through a horrific ankle injury and is still doing amazing things. I'm super stoked for her that she gets this opportunity. On the male side, we have Georgios Karavis, Sam Cornwallis, Guy Mijeros, Heinrich Kapalainen, and Jorge Fernandez. There was, as always, a lot of shakeup after video review with Rogue. Saw some of the appeals on Instagram and that were denied. Man, Rogue plays no jokes with their video review.
Yeah. What was Tudor's penalty?
I don't even know what his penalty was, but it dropped him all the way to like 28th.
Yeah. Tudor and Cole. And Cole didn't drop as much. It wasn't as 5-minute penalty for Tudor. Yeah, I was bummed to see that.
Did he have a fan guard maybe on the Echo bike?
Lynn says it was in the snatches. That's too bad. I was bummed about that.
You'd think that, like, this is year what now, you know, of these qualifiers. You got to be weighing your weights. You got to be showing your screens. You got to move well. Because if you get no reps somewhere, sometimes they'll just end the workouts there. You got to read the rules. And just make sure that you're accountable as an athlete for the video that you're going to be submitting. Like, this happens every year. For someone to go from like 15th all the way into the top 5 is crazy. How many people above that just think that because they have experience or whatever, that they're just going to be like, everything's going to be fine.
Rules don't
People
apply to them.
People should know better.
Yeah. Halpin has a good post on penalties somewhere on his Instagram. I agree. I saw it. He actually has like where the position was before the review, what it was after the view, all that kind of stuff. So go check that out on Instagram. It's done really well. But you're right, Carolyn. Like, if Travis Mayer, one of the most experienced people in CrossFit, gets dinged by Rogue, like nobody is above the penalties. And you have to read the rules.
Mm-hmm. So looks like Sam isn't retiring. Didn't he say after the games he was pretty much done?
Sam Cornway?
Yeah.
Well, he's training for a High Rocks right now. I know that. But
That's interesting.
I mean, there's some good athletes there that are like good for Rogue. Like those women are super strong. And they, there's some specialists there. Like Guy obviously is going to be exciting to watch for whatever lift they're going to do. It's just interesting every time the qualifiers and how they do when they get there. Last year, who was the top qualifier that did well out of the queue? I think there was one or two. Normally they're towards the end, but I think last year there was a couple that actually did well.
A Rogue doesn't care who you are; they will penalize. That is true, and that's how it should be.
And that's how it should be. Yep.
MN Rogue is going to be epic.
Like Taylor Williamson at Rogue is going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's got some home run capabilities.
I think they mine Mano Anganese for car batteries. I think that's, oh gosh, now I can't even say the real word. Yeah, my periodic table knowledge has fallen apart. Wad Zombie says those who can CrossFit, those who can't High Rocks. Why can't we do both?
I'm doing the High Rocks in 2 weeks just for fun with my friend. It's in Toronto, so hopping in on it. I'm not training for it.
I wanted to go to.
Are you gonna hydrate before this one?
Oh my gosh, I will try. I think I need to just run with like one of those belts with just hydration or something.
Is that the week before Crash?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like October 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. I've seen like you doing handstand over obstacles and all this stuff in your training. Are you doing that because of Crash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch up on some things that I felt could maybe show up at Crash because they've had those handstand stuff before. So I tried to do some hurdle yesterday for the first time. And then I haven't touched the stairs and ramps since I was on the demo team last year and I had to test it. So took that out. Yeah, just playing around.
Yeah, I just because the only place I've even seen that like in the last couple of years has been at Crash. So I was just curious if that's what was going through your head. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Can't wait to watch you do that. And then the last thing we have for tonight is Brian Spin actually talked about this Wednesday night on the Spin, but he found a permit in Miami for where the new location of Wodapalooza Miami was going to be. And I pulled up the Google Maps of that area. So try to blow this up.
Ben is so good at finding these things.
I know.
Like he is so on top of it. You just go there to find out everything that's going on.
So basically, it's along the beach from 6th Street, which is right. This is the start of 6th Street, if you can see my mouse. And it goes all the way to either 10th or 11th. So that goes all the way up to, there's 10th right there, or 11th is this next street here. So that's quite a bit of area that's covering and would be pretty crazy. Bayfront Park was about a city block.
Okay.
So if now you're talking maybe 2 city blocks with warm-up area, let's go 2 city blocks. And if now you're expanding to 4 or 5, that's a much bigger area that you get to put your competition. And I think that's pretty amazing.
How big do you feel like it was at Huntington Beach? It seemed big. The amount of
WOD Zombie would be our guy. He was there in real life, so he would be able to know. Lex says barbell spin is really the barbell sleuth. Spin is a sleeper agent for the CIA who fell in love with CrossFit. So, but yeah, this is all credit to Spin. He's the one that announced it on his show. But I just wanted to show you guys that's a pretty, and there's all this park, but before the beach, all the way down.
Can you change that to satellite view? That bottom left thing?
This.
Yeah. Yeah, then we can, that's good. So we can just sort of see it better.
Okay. So that's 6 to all, like the very, let me pull it down just a little bit. Okay. So here's 6th all the way to 10th. And all of this is park in this area before you get out to the beach.
Better start booking your stuff now.
Yeah, goodness.
Corridor touristy, so souvenir shops and Red Lobster. That I don't know. So there's a mattress shop somewhere around there. There's a Wet Willie's if you want your frozen drinks. Muscle Beach.
Nice. How close is this to like Peak 360?
That I have no idea. I'm not Spin. I'm not barbell sleuth. But yeah.
Not close, according to Bruce.
But Bruce told us last week, I think, that it's about 20 minutes from where it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that's dependent on traffic.
Which Miami traffic is not very good.
So, but that's what we have going on in Miami.
Well, hopefully it'll feel less crowded.
So one thing we forgot to talk about was Adaptive.
Yeah.
Dang it. So much happening this weekend. So I watched a lot of Adaptive Thursday and Friday and just a little bit over the weekend. And my my general thoughts on it were they did a really great job. WheelWOD did an amazing job setting it up. It was held in what appeared to be a sports complex. And I loved the first event on Thursday was a row, a ski, a bike, and a run.
Mm-hmm.
And the run, they made a track out of multiple tennis courts where you kind of went out and around. And in the morning, they weren't showing the run much. And I was like, in the chat, like, all I want to do is see where the run goes. And then they showed a lot of the run in the afternoon. And it was really cool. It was a really cool setup out and around this tennis court. And it was hot that day.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really cool. And then, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. A lot of impressive athletes. When the 1 point upper were cleaning more than I can with 2 points, I was really, really frustrated with that. But other than that, super impressive.
Yeah, I agree. I was impressed with coverage, just the setup, I mean, it looks like the athletes were extremely well taken care of there. It looked like it felt a little more professional than what we experienced personally.
What I thought was a really cool move was day one was outside on that run. and they made wearing the uniforms optional so they could wear lighter clothing, because some of the adaptives are sun sensitive. And so because they were doing it for some, they did it for the entire community and allowed them to wear whatever they wanted. And then as they went indoors, they then made the uniforms mandatory. So I thought that was a cool move by WheelWOD and all that. But yeah, it brought to light even more categories of adaptive. Maybe like you got to see people that it appears they have both legs, but one doesn't work like it should, or, you know, they have an arm, but it doesn't work at all, and that they have slings that they use to keep it. If it has limited, they sling it away so you can't use it, to make it fair. Like, there was a lot of things I learned about it. But what was amazing is going through all the different divisions, how they modified the rower so that everybody could use it, how they modified the bike, how they, like, it just was really a cool way to kind of see all the different ways, if you're a coach, how you could scale for anybody coming into your gym. By flipping the rower up, using the dumbbell as a guide on a box. I don't know if you saw that. They flipped the rower up, or they just put it down and they brought the chain up over the box, but they put it under a dumbbell to keep it like in a track.
Okay.
They could pull on it. The bike had handles where you went to the outside of the bike and you could just crank on it if you were on a wheelchair. It just a lot of cool things where you could see how anybody could use the equipment in your gym in a different way and still get a really good workout.
Is Kevin the only one programming? Like, is like his mind the only one that's programming for all those divisions? Because that's very impressive that he has to, I mean, I'm sure he's going to other professionals that are like, or like other athletes that
I know he's the head programmer or responsible for it. Doesn't mean he didn't get help.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That'd be a great question to ask him.
Because that's a lot to think about. Like the amount of different divisions and adaptations that you have to do. But it's great to see the addition of all those new divisions that couldn't be there at the regular old CrossFit Games. And I think that if they can continue to showcase it, it's only going to just keep growing, and give an opportunity to a lot of athletes out there that don't know that this exists, a dream to perform on that big stage. So really cool to see, and happy that it looked like it was successful, and hopefully they find a good weekend next year for it that allows more people to get some eyes on it.
I looked at the stats as I was watching on Thursday and Friday closely. They were staying around 800 on Thursday. It was around 600 on Friday. I was hoping those numbers would be a little bit higher. But if you have a chance, go watch a little bit of it. Just give them a view, give them a like. So at least it pushes it out a little bit more. So people who don't know what goes on with adaptive athletes in this sport can see it. But it doesn't cost you anything to start up a video and hit the like button. These athletes need highlighted any way we can do that. And I highly encourage you to go out and do that. You should do that for all the CrossFit. If you are into CrossFit and you love watching it, you should start every CrossFit video of these athletes competing and hit the like button at the very least. Get the numbers up as high as you can, because that's what sells to companies who want to sponsor. That sells to companies who want to be able to stream. And we need more competition of production companies who are willing to stream. Because one thing I will say, I think we use the same basic production company for just about everything. And when you hit spots where the audio goes out, it's frustrating. It would be nice to have some competition in the space so that everybody got better. And maybe the price gets lowered and more people can see the things that we do. That's all I got to say about it. That's my little mini riff of the week. And hit the like on this button, like button on this podcast. Sure, we appreciate it too. We appreciate it very much. So that's all I got for tonight. We have this. We have tomorrow. We have Jenny Hall coming on tomorrow, who is Dense Updates, talking about what she's doing in the space. We have episode 3 of the behind the scenes of the Masters CrossFit Games coming tomorrow at 1:00 Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And other than that, that's about it for this weekend. We are thinking about moving the roundtable to Thursday afternoons at 12:15 instead of Tuesdays, because Amy runs a preschool and that preschool needs her on Tuesdays now. So we're thinking about moving it to Thursdays. Plus, it splits our 2 shows apart, like about half a week apart from each other, and gives us a little more fresh ideas going into each show. So if you don't see us Tuesday, look for us on Thursday. I will get with them first thing tomorrow morning, and we will have a definitive, and I'll get it out onto YouTube with what we're doing. With that, like, subscribe, you know the drill. If you're listening to us, 5-star review, all that stuff on iTunes, we'd love that as well. And with that, we'll see everybody next week on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. You know, the original, right, Kenneth? The original. Bye.